Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Middletown-Wallkill border. Because just across the street, you're in the city of Middletown. Over here, you're in the town of Wallkill, but we have an excellent working relationship with the town, and so all these joint events, especially when it comes to veterans, are important for all of us to show up at. I want to welcome all of you here, including our Senator Metzger, Assemblywoman Gunther, County Executive Steve Newhouse, Supervisor D'Andanto, and all the honored guests. It seems like a short while ago that we were here when the Senator announced that you were going to pursue this. I think at one of the meetings within the last several months, and she has great news to talk about the Veterans Suicide Awareness and Remembrance Day press that we're here for. So before we do that, I wanted to introduce Supervisor D'Andanto to say a few words, and once again, thank you all for coming. Frank?
I'll clap you, Frank. Nobody is joining.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here, and think that this day is an important day, and I'm excited to join the Senator and the Assemblywoman and all the distinguished guests here to focus in on something that I think could use even more of a spotlight. So I want to thank you very much, and again, have a good afternoon, and thank you very much.
First of all, just want to thank Mayor DeStefano and Supervisor D'Andanto for welcoming us today, and I'd really like to thank American Legion Post 151 and Commander Will Rios for hosting us today. We're also here today. I'm here with my partner in the state legislature, Assemblywoman Aileen Gunther, as well as it's my great privilege to be here with County Executive Steve Newhouse as well, and all of our leaders and advocates for veterans in our region. 10 months ago, many of us stood together inside the Legion Hall as Assemblywoman Gunther and I announced the introduction of a bill to designate the September 22nd as I'm going to take this off because, sorry, I'll just point that way, as an annual observance of Veteran Suicide Awareness and Remembrance Day in New York State. Since that day, it has been my office's pleasure to partner with so many of you in holding Veterans Resources Fairs throughout the district for active duty service members, veterans, and their families. My staff and I have very much enjoyed getting to know you in my first term in office and learning how we can help and support our veteran community. One of the main reasons we're gathered here today is to deliver the great news that the Senate unanimously passed the bill to create this important September 22nd annual observance. And we hope, yay! And we hope that it will soon pass the Assembly. I have no doubt it will, with a champion like Assemblywoman Aileen Gunther. The number 22 has significant and tragic meaning for veterans, their families, and our communities. It's been estimated that we have been losing 22 veterans to suicide on average every day. Suicide rates among male veterans are 1.4 times higher than the general adult population and 1.8 times higher among our female veterans. The return home from their service to our country with wounds of war that are not always visible but take a great toll on their mental and physical health. In 2016 alone, 153 veterans in New York committed suicide. By designating September 22nd as Veteran Suicide Awareness and Remembrance Day, we recognize and remember those who we have lost, we elevate this issue in public consciousness, and we bring attention to the need to address the root causes so that we can prevent the further tragic loss of life in our veteran community. The idea for this legislation first came out of a conversation with a constituent of mine, Manny Tirado. Where's Manny?
Yeah, right here.
Right behind me. And Kevin Hertel, both of whom will be speaking shortly. Both of them served or continue to serve on the MTA New York City Transit Veterans Resource Group and have been strong advocates on this issue. I just want to mention another very important and related victory we had in the state legislature this year. I was able to secure for the first time funding to support brand new vet-to-vet programs modeled on the incredibly successful program that we have right here in Orange County for both Sullivan and Ulster counties. About a third of the counties in New York State have this program. Every county in New York State should have this program. For some reason, it's an incredible fight to try to get counties added, but it was definitely a fight in this budget, but we were able to get it. Larry Newman and I see Everett Cox as well have been doing extraordinary work in Orange County, and we want to be able to spread those benefits throughout the 42nd District. This peer support is absolutely essential to helping veterans suffering from PTSD, traumatic brain injury, and depression. No one understands what veterans are going through as well as other veterans, and this peer support can save lives. I'm thrilled that both counties will be able to participate in Joseph P. Dwyer Veteran Peer Support Project Program, and I hope one day we can get it statewide. I was also able to nominate Sullivan County for funding to get a new disability accessible van for our veterans to get them to appointments, to the medical appointments that they need. Transportation, as we all know, around here is an enormous challenge generally for veterans, but it's especially challenging in extremely rural counties like Sullivan County. These are all good starts, but there is much more that needs to be done on issues like housing for veterans. We have to continue to do a lot of work. I want to thank everyone here. We have many leaders and partners working on these issues. I just want to mention and offer a special recognition of Larry Newman. Larry, where is Larry? There is Larry. I had the great privilege of nominating Larry for New York State's Veterans Hall of Fame this year. This is the hall. It's a virtual Hall of Fame, so it's on the Senate website, but it recognizes veterans from around the state who have distinguished themselves in military and civilian life. And there is really few that deserve this so much as Larry. He has done incredible work in his leadership in the Vet-to-Vet program and in the Hudson Valley Veteran Task Force, and just every minute of every day he spends working on behalf of our veterans. So I want to recognize and thank him, and I want to thank all of you. And now it is my great privilege to introduce Orange County Executive and National Guard Reservist Steve Newhouse, who has been an amazing champion and leader on veterans issues in Orange County. County Executive.
Thank you, Senator.
You'll have to ignore all this junk.
We got to do this weird elbow all day, Jen and I. It's weird. But Senator, thank you so much for having me here today. And, yesterday people are asking me when we did the media announcement, what does the date mean? What is the significance? And Senator Metzger talked about the 22 veterans a day on average that are dying in the United States. But the same deal that we do, the same way we address the opioid addiction is by talking about it, by highlighting it. And years ago, I talked about how families would call me and be like, please, you run the county medical examiner's office. Can you put cause of death, natural causes for my kid that overdosed? That doesn't do anything, guys, to fight the forward battle to try to stop more overdoses. The same thing with suicide deaths. And I see Chief Master Sergeant Casapoli, you should be up here with us. The new Ulster County Veterans Affairs Commissioner, Director, whatever they call it up there. He served He served at 105th and Stewart as the senior enlisted guy for many years, a big partner. This guy has done God's work with me. Dying children, I had him at the bedside where he would be. They love military people. You were the last guy that saw this young little boy that loved the military, and you held his hand. I mean, this guy is the real deal and a good dude. But let me just tell you, I'll give him another round of applause. He's a great guy. About 2 years ago, Christian Farrell, our Veterans Affairs for Orange County, and a couple of you guys in the audience went to a Christmas party in a neighboring county where they highlighted a number of veterans. And about a week later, I got a phone call on a Friday night. They said, the Veterans Affairs Director for this county? I said, yep. They're like, he just committed suicide. Neighboring county, the Veterans Affairs Director, the man in charge of making sure his flock in that county committed suicide. Last fall, I was the executive officer for SEAL Team 18 in Virginia Beach. We had a nice drill weekend. Everybody put on their dress blues. It was something our unit wanted to do. I get a call Monday morning. They're like, our corpsman, Nick, yep, what happened? They're like, he washed up on Virginia Beach. Now, this was a mental health expert. This guy was 33 years old, good-looking kid. I'll show you a picture of him, Jen. You'll be like, what, where it comes from. He was a mental health advisor for the VA, multiple tours in Iraq, multiple tours in Afghanistan, and a great corpsman with us. Nobody saw the signs, so to say, and there is signs, and we have to learn how to be proactive and know that. And that's why Senator Metzger and Aileen Gunther are trying to bring awareness to us so we can talk and we can look at the signs and know the signs so we can prevent more suicides and help these men and women. But just a wonderful kid, and it was really ripple effects in my command and people that knew him, and it's just unfortunate, and it continues to happen. And it's not going to stop until we bring awareness to it and until we start talking about it. Talking about, like Senator Metzger said, having peer-to-peer. What's going on? You can talk to me. I've been there. Or I'm in the same industry as you. And we've seen that be successful more and more. I couldn't be more supportive of what you guys are talking about today. And Aileen, I know you're working hard to get it through the Assembly. If you need help on my end, and people that Frank Dendanto knows, or Joe DiStefano, or these gentlemen and ladies around us here today, let us know. We'll help you do that fight. So thank you, everybody, for being here today. Thank you for what you're doing at this post. Good to see everybody.
Thank you, County Executive, and thank you for your service and the point about the stigma that's attached to suicide and mental health issues that he raises. It is such an important one and has been such an obstacle to addressing this issue. I now want to bring up my partner, Aileen Gunther, to say a few words.
So first of all, there are a lot of vets in the audience and standing beside me, and I want to thank you for your service and remember all those that are serving our country right now. It's so important that we thank a veteran every day. And the increase in suicide around our nation and the lack of funding that both the federal and the state government has been giving towards mental health and towards treatment is really abysmal. And I think we as a community have to recognize that with COVID and those young children that will be suffering from PTSD, that all of us need to really tap into the federal government and the state government. I know it's been my mantra for the last few years as the chair of mental health, and it has to be a mantra and it has to be a cry to Governor Cuomo to tell him it's time to send money for programs like this. We have over $180 billion budget, and each and every year we have to beg for important survival monies. And I don't think he's hearing us loud and clear when we invest in economic development and we put billions and billions of dollars into large corporations, but yet we're not caring for the citizens of New York State, our veterans, our aged, and it's time that we have a voice together to say that Governor Cuomo, please pay attention to those that need help in New York State. The time is now, and more than ever after COVID, we need these monies. So thank you, veterans, thank you, Jen, and all of you for supporting, veterans across our nation, across our counties, and we can't do enough for you. So thank you so very much.
And I just want to say I've been tremendously fortunate to have a partner like Assemblywoman Gunther in the other house, and she chairs the mental health committee. She was a nurse, she understands these issues, and she's an incredible advocate for you. As I had mentioned earlier, Manny Tirado and Kevin Hertel were both instrumental in moving this legislation forward. I also want to mention that I introduced a second bill with their assistance that would establish the Suicide Awareness and Remembrance flag. Where do we? Here, if I could hold it up. This is a bill that we hope to get passed next year in our continued efforts to raise awareness to this issue. I'd like to bring each of them up to say a few words. Manny and Kevin.
I'll speak first and I'll introduce you. Okay. Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Manny Tirado. I'm the chair of the New York City Transit Veterans Resource Group. We're the employee affinity group for veterans. We're part of New York City Transit Diversity Council. And basically, well, what happened about a year ago? Okay, I work as an analyst at a bus depot up in northern Manhattan, and Kevin Hertel actually works as a car inspector at a facility which was right next door to mine. But we had never met before, actually, till a year ago, and so I was sitting in my office, and he walked in with his flag. And so I've never known the guy. Okay, no appointment, no, I came in with his flag, and I know this guy from a hole in the wall, but let me listen to what he had to say about the flag and about his organization, about raising suicide awareness about the problem among veterans. Because my organization was primarily exists as a veterans group to promote career development and get more veterans hired at the MTA, which is an important goal. But I knew from the beginning I also wanted my organization to work in tandem with other veteran groups to promote issues that would be a benefit to the veterans community. Because it applies everywhere. Because certainly transit workers also deal with stress, especially now with post-TV and what's going on now with the pandemic and whatnot. So I said, all right, well, you know what? I'll put it on our newsletter, whatnot, okay? And but Kevin wanted to say, well, let's see if we can convince transit to put the flag, on our facilities. We have hundreds of facilities here at MTA. But the problem is that we can't do that. There's a protocol. You can't put a flag up there unless it's enabled by state legislation. Okay. So I called, Jen and said, Jen, look, I have an idea for this legislation, and I think it's going to be, bipartisan. I can't see how Democrat, Republican could not vote for this. It's low cost, okay, no fiscal impact of the budget, okay. Let's, let's do this. Let's do this. And she was gracious enough, to do this. She met with Kevin, okay, and I'm going to introduce you to Kevin Hertel, car inspector, New York City Transit. And he'll tell you his story and how he, how he came about to form his own organization to promote this. It's a very compelling story. Kevin, step up.
Good morning. Thank you, Senator Metzger, for the invitation to speak here today. My name is Kevin Hertel. I'm an Air Force veteran and the creator of the Suicide Awareness and Remembrance flag, or SAR flag, Honor the Fallen. According to the VA, we've lost over 100,000 veterans to suicide since 2001. We are still losing an average of 22 a day to this day. These fallen veterans have no monument, no memorials, no adequate media coverage, and they and their families are being ignored and forgotten by our country until now. Now we have the SAR flag, and now the Senate has unanimously passed a bill to annually recognize September 22nd as the Veteran Suicide Awareness and Remembrance Day. Senator Metzger and I have been working on this bill since last summer, and I'm so grateful for her leadership and support in bringing this bill to the Senate and now facilitating its passing. The month of September was chosen because it's Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month, and the 22nd day of September represents the 22 veterans who died by suicide daily. On September 22nd of this year and every year hereafter, we can finally honor those veterans lost to the suicide epidemic. We can finally pay our respect and honor their families and mourn with them and heal with them, and never forget how the families made such a costly sacrifice for our country. My family is among those affected by this epidemic. This is my cousin, Senior Airman Robert Dean. He died by suicide in 2016. He is survived by his 6-year-old son, his wife, and a family that still mourns him daily. Every day we lose 22 men and women, just like my cousin. By having an annual observance, we elevate this issue in the public consciousness and we can talk about veteran suicide, thereby taking away the stigma associated with it. And by normalizing an otherwise taboo subject of mental health among veterans and active military, we will allow them to seek out the care they need without fear of judgment. This annual observance is not only a day of recognition to finally honor those veterans lost, but it's imperative that we speak about suicide and let veterans know that we care about those who died by suicide, and that we care about preventing living veterans and active military from becoming a part of this epidemic. After this bill becomes law, September 22nd will be known as the Veteran Suicide Awareness and Remembrance Day. It will be a day of honor, a day of remembering, a day of solidarity, a day of reflecting, and a day of raising awareness of the ongoing veteran suicide epidemic. It will also be a day to remind us that we must act to alter the course of the nation's veterans by reversing the suicide epidemic and begin to save lives. We must bring the number from 22 to 0. We are making history today. We will be the ones to make a difference. And I am proud and honored to work with Senator Metzger and be a part of this change. God bless our troops, God bless our veterans, and God bless America. Thank you.